Right, so we're at the Sheraton Hotel in downtown Toronto, just a little before midnight. We're here with Steve, a.k.a. the Thrillseekers. You're playing at Republic tonight. Now, where have you been on tour of late? Anything interesting?
Anything interesting? Yeah, I've been to some really interesting places. Well, the tour kicked off with a trip down to Australia, which was great fun. I started out in Sydney, then went over to Perth. In fact, when I played in Sydney, I think I was due to play from 2 until 3 o'clock. And things got a little bit messy, and I was still on the decks at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm told. So yeah, it was good fun. Probably the more interesting place I went to recently was to Lebanon. Played in Beirut, and wasn't really sure what to expect. But when I got there, the venue was like a beach resort, right by the sea, with the mountains in the background. And we had jacuzzis, lasers outside, and 30 degrees until 5 in the morning. So yeah, really.
Sounds like quite a party. Now, if you've had a chance to play all over the world, is there somewhere that you haven't been able to play that you want to go check out?
Yeah, I haven't been to South America, actually. I'd love to go down to Brazil, and I hear there's a real scene kicking off over there. So, yeah, I'd love to give that a try.
You have a whole bunch of new material out. By Your Side is your latest release. What do you expect from this release, and where can DJs get their hands on it?
Where can they get their hands on it? Well, right at the moment, probably nowhere, actually. Fingers crossed. Well, no, it's a record for next year, and it was I wrote the track specifically for the Night Music album. So we're kind of in the process now of getting mixes done. So we're going to get some house mixes done, and try to broaden the listeners, really. So hopefully by January or February we should be ready to roll.
Now, you mentioned your night music project. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been asked for a long time now to put a lot of my remix work onto one CD. So one CD is just that, a collection of my mixes. And the other CD is a DJ mix where I've really kind of tried to condense a typical DJ set from 2 hours down into, a CD, so about 70 minutes. And that's the idea, really.
Now, you said problems about it getting released early. Have you had problems with pirating and early file sharing and so on?
Yeah, I mean, I think the release date was the 26th of September this year, and on the 24th, people were sending me links to download it from the net because, I don't know whether the distributor or some of the shops get it out a little bit early, and so yeah, it is a problem, but the way I view it is that it's extra publicity for me, and it's good exposure. I never intended the album to be a money-making thing. It was really to get my name out there more. So, yeah, it's just good that people are interested in it,
Your website looks awesome. Are side things like websites and for others their own T-shirt line or line of cologne or whatnot, are these things crucial to the music itself?
Well, for me, the website really is to promote the album, so it's a focal point where people from all over the world can just have a look what it's about and hear the tracks and get some feel for the imagery used on the CD cover, and yeah, really just check out the album. In terms of merchandising, well, I think for some artists, yeah, it's an extra source of revenue. But it's not something I've, gone too far into.
Was there a time that everything just sort of clicked and you realized, wow, I'm stuck in this for good?
Stuck in this for good. The time it clicked, actually, was, I remember it very clearly. I was on my school lunchtime break, and we were talking with our friends about what we wanted to do when we leave school. And I just said, well, I want to be on top of the pops when I grow up, And everyone was like, oh, you'll never do it. And from that moment, I was focused. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do music. I'm going to make a living out of this. And, yeah, here I am now doing it. So, yeah.
Now, was it hard to go from production to being a DJ? Because a lot of people go from DJing to then producing.
They do, yeah. Well, I've been working with music since I was this high, So in terms of the technical aspects of DJing, then I find it quite easy because I'm working with rhythm all the time. So in terms of mixing records, I find it quite easy. And in terms of programming a set for the crowd, then that's just something you learn, and it's almost part of an instinct of being a musician. So it kind of, I think maybe being a producer has helped.
Do you call yourself a producer or a DJ?
Oh, producer, yeah. DJing is something else that I do as part of my music. And the two, like you say, are intertwined now. But it's interesting what's happened over the last sort of like 5 or 6 years. Back in the 80s, 90s, you would DJ to promote your records. Now you have to make records to promote yourself as a DJ. So the whole thing kind of turned on its head. But I think, to be a producer or a DJ now, you really need to be doing the two side by side. Now,
you mentioned 5 or 6 years ago. Compare that to today. Is it easier or harder to come through the whole scene, DJing and production-wise?
It's difficult to answer, really, because I think if you have something special and you're talented, then you'll rise to the top. The cream rises to the top, the old cliche. But perhaps 5 or 6 years ago, there weren't as many people doing what I do. I think the difference now is that so many people have access to the tools which producers use. Whereas when I started producing, I had to save up for months and months to buy a certain piece of hardware, and then a year later I'd buy another keyboard. But now everybody has access to the software versions, and they can get the sounds, but they need to have the ideas, and the producers that have the ideas will obviously do well.
What do you see in the future for not only your label with Justin Music, but all labels? Bright times or some difficult changes?
I think there's some very difficult changes for everybody to face. Obviously, record sales are declining because of MP3s. So, we need to adapt and find new ways to keep making a living out of this.
Now, if you had the chance to attack and fix one of the problems in the electronic scene, what would that be?
I think file sharing is obviously a problem we're all aware of, and MP3 as a medium is a fantastic medium which I use and a lot of producers use. But the real problem is people's attitudes towards sharing music. If we could we need to work at changing attitudes, really. That's what we need to do. How we go about that, I don't know.
So thank you very much.
Okay.
Look forward to a great time tonight.
Yeah, me too. Hi, this is Steve from the Thrillseekers, and you're listening to Amps on Amplified Radio.